Broncos country. October's in the books. That wasn't so scary. I mean, we rolled through October, stacked those wins, baby, but on to November. On to November, on the road, take on the Houston Texans. We got the preview and obviously some news and some stories. All that coming up right about, let's say. Welcome in, everybody. Hope your Halloween was fantastic, man. Hope you had a fantastic Halloween. Got all the candy that you wanted. Hopefully no fruit in the bag. I don't know what's bad these days, to get in as far as the candy is concerned. It's all sweet around here, though, man. My name's Keith Brugman. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We're brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We have an amazing sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. I got my good friend, the judge, Jody, the Judge Moncrief, coming in here. We're ready to talk some Broncos, man. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready. What's bad is peeps. Those are the bad ones.
Those are the bad ones. If you get do they have Halloween peeps now? Is that what it is? I guess that maybe they do. Yeah, they have just about peeps for everything. I think peeps Easter.
You know how you eat peeps?
How do you eat peeps?
I throw them in the trash.
You throw them in the trash. Well, maybe we'll get some candy bag ideas, or I'll have a few candy bag ideas for you. Since it is, we're just coming off of Halloween. Well, maybe I'll throw you a couple ideas. Hopefully, we'll have Trevor the Rocket Man Salzman, but internet issues are plaguing him once again. We'll see what we get with Rocket Man. If not, man, we got a great show for you because, well, the Broncos are 6-2. The Broncos are rolling, and the Broncos got the Houston Texans. Yeah, it smells like, sounds like, kind of looks like a victory. But we got to say hello to everybody in the chat as well, man. Like Mr. Ernie Mays coming in here and saying, "Go Broncos country only." Keith and friends, that's all of you in the chat, and that's all of you watching. That's you as well, Jody. How do you feel about this October, man? This October's worth of games, man, because let's face it wasn't all like this last game. So that seemed to be, like I said, the most comfortable game I can remember watching of a Denver Broncos football game in quite some time. So we had our ups and downs throughout the season, but how do you put that out, put a ribbon on October? What would you say about it? I guess the best way to put it.
Sean 4-0. I'll put it that way. There were some good games, like you just said, the Dallas game, the most complete game. There were some horrible games, like the Jets game, where you hold Justin Fields to negative pass yards and you still almost lose the game. But then there were wild games like the Giants game, where you come back from 19 down and you score 33 in the fourth quarter, and you score you kick the last second field goal with 37 seconds left. Or the Eagles game, where you finally, as Jim Nantz said after that game, there's Denver's signature win. You beat the Super Bowl champs, something that hadn't been done in quite a long time. You did it at their place, and you made an incredible comeback in the fourth quarter, running and throwing the ball. Bo Nix, went off and the Giants game and that game in the fourth quarter. And I think the offense is learning who they are. You know, you had a new tight end, new running back. You had a new number 2 wide receiver in Franklin. Pat Bryant's working his way in. And it's starting to come together. But this week's going to be the test. But I think all in all, you went 4-0, what you were supposed to do. And this is the game, I think, if you can, you don't have to score 40 points, but if your offense can, you know, just hold its own for the whole game, I think people are going to start taking you seriously against this defense.
I agree with everything that you just said there, man. Like you said, ups and downs. Found out who we were with a few players. That's why I want to say a couple of things. I want to say character building, and I think identity building as well was how I kind of classify October. I think we found ourselves in a lot of ways, and I think we built up some calluses. We, you know, sharpen some iron out there at times, you know, and got ourselves ready for the next stretch, which is going to be just as difficult as the stretch we just got through. Man, it's going to be interesting, man. I got to get into the comments here. I'm going to hold off for just a second. Other than maybe this one, I'll get Clayton in here, coming in here like he always does, man. Supporting our show. Good to see you, Clayton. Hey, guys, smash that like and share. We appreciate it, man. Big time help whenever you can hit that like, that love, that wow that I see that's up there as well. Appreciate you guys so very much. So get all in here and start talking about some Denver Broncos, including the Mile High Dutchie. Albert Knopper is coming in and saying, howdy, y'all. Good to see you, Albert. Yeah, Mile High salute to him. No kidding. I'm going to get
to see.
It's been a while. We saw him on the last episode, but you weren't here. So we've had Albert now hanging out with us, and it's great to see Albert. Good to see you, my friend. Look at him, man. Looking dapper there in his Facebook profile, man. Appreciate you. Hey, man, he was always cleaned up and ready to go, man. Got to give him some love on there. Let's just hit it, man, so I can get to our good friend Phil's comment, who dropped stars. So I definitely want to get to it. We did not come out of October unscathed. And because of that, we have a couple of guys who aren't going to be playing this weekend. And we have a couple of guys who have been elevated up as well. Let's talk about that in one big package, man. Obviously, PS2 gets hurt. Marvin Mims gets hurt. Nate Atkins gets hurt. They're all not going to be able to play. And we have some elevations as well that, like I said, I want to get to, and Phil's alluding to in here as well. So what do you go ahead and take it from there, my friend?
The big one for me is PS2. I mean, the reigning defensive player of the year. It's a big loss, but if it's going to happen at any time in the season, I think it's at the best time. They're not putting him on IR, which I think is a good sign, which means with the bye week here, it's going to be less than 4 weeks. I've kind of had in the back of my mind, I think that they're shooting for the Kansas City game to get him back. But I think it's I think this is only going to be good for this team in respects to, you're going to find out some depth pieces. Where is Chris Abrams-Drains? Is he somebody we're going to have to keep around if Riley Moss is at some point going to need a big payday? Same with Jaquan McMillan. And I like what I've seen in the Dallas game, how they did some different things with Jahdae Barron, moving him around, covering tight ends. Yes, George Pickens got a few passes, but that's fine. They didn't really go off or do anything. And I like the adjustments that Denver made in this game, in that game, with PS2 missing the whole second half. So I'm worried. I'm not let me take that. I'm not really that worried just because of the depth. Will there be drop off? Sure, because you can't replace the Pat Surtain, but the depth that we have and some different pieces, I think they can work around it. Houston doesn't have an elite offense. The Raiders definitely doesn't have an elite offense. And then hopefully you have them back for the Kansas City game. And you get Greenlaw back. I think Greenlaw is going to be really important. He had like 6 or 7 tackles and 20 snaps in his first game back. So I think that's another big addition. So I'm really not worried about that. The one I'm, I guess, more worried about just depth-wise is Nate Atkins, how long this is going to be. I would say it's probably going to be a little while longer for them to have to go sign Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
Because if Evan Ingram goes down, Lucas Kroll, he's already on IR. Sounds like he's done for the year. I mean, you have Evan Ingram and Troutman. So, I mean, fingers crossed that Ingram can stay healthy the rest of the year because you're back to really where you were last year with blocking tight ends. And that's really it.
This was Phil's comment, and he dropped 100 stars on this as well. He says, "Good evening, Keith and the judge. Can we get Mercedes Lewis to play for Troutman?" Laugh out loud. The funny thing is I really like the possibility of Mercedes Lewis coming to the Denver Broncos and what he brings, because we've all been asking for the running game to get going. Now, obviously, he's not taking Troutman's spot in that regard. Troutman's going to be the receiving tight end if we have one on this roster behind Evan Ingram. And obviously, we had Lucas Kroll that's out with an injury and had surgery as well. So that's all the moving chess pieces, I guess you could say, within that tight end room right now that we have. But it'll be interesting. I like the Mercedes Lewis. I will say this, man. I was going to come on here and I was actually going to have a dumbbell. You know what I mean? Just because I was going to say, hey, I think I'm going to start working out. I think I got a chance. Maybe I could still make an NFL roster. 41 years old, man. Got elevated to the 53. I don't know how many snaps he gets. And that being said, I don't want it to be a tipping. I don't want it to be tipping the hat of what we're going to be doing out there on the field with Mercedes Lewis. I mean, it should be obvious all the time, but when he's first starting to come back, I think it's going to be even more obvious as well.
And I'll disagree with that a little bit. Where I think he's going to help is he's 6'7", 270. So when you're bringing in this jumbo package, and I mean, it was Pocheski and now it's Throckmorton. I mean, that was a dead giveaway. Now you have a tight end in there. And so he's in the jumbo package because he's basically lineman size or just a hair under. So now teams aren't going to – I mean, you got to play him straight up, really. You can't just assume he's out here just to block, because he can still go out and if he has to, he can run a little button hook or something and run a route or something. So
yeah,
I think it will stop giving away the dead giveaway as you're bringing in when you bring in the jumbo package.
That's fair. Versus the jumbo package, you're right. Versus having Ingram and Troutman out there versus Ingram and Mercedes Lewis. Right. You might be tipping your hat a little bit. And that's where I'm getting out.
More Mercedes Lewis instead of like Calvin Throckmorton or Alex Pocheski as it was. So I think it does that. I don't think he's going to play a lot of snaps. How many snaps was Pocheski or Throckmorton getting in the jumbo package? I think that's what his role is going to be. But it still has to be in the back of a team's mind. This guy is still tight end and knows how to run routes, and he can catch. So, I mean, you're not worried about Throckmorton going out and trying to catch the football. So, I think so. I like that move. So, for that, I like it because it kind of doesn't. It's not a dead giveaway like it has been.
Taking away touchdown opportunities from left tackle Garrett Bowles, man. That's all I got to say. That was just so disappointing. I wanted Garrett to come in with that one. I don't know if I wanted that one or DeAndre Tillman to break it all the way for a touchdown more. Those are the two, I don't know, most unlikely possible touchdown candidates we have so far for the year. Good to see my good friend Jeremy Dresser coming in here and saying what's up, fellas. Go Broncos. Good to see you, my friend. Dan's coming in here over there on Facebook. He says the trio of Sutton, Franklin, and Pat Bryant. This wide receiver group is finally starting to gel. How you feeling? Like we got it out of October, you feel like that wide receiver group is starting to come together. I really like what Franklin has been able to put forth. He's kind of built upon last year that was obviously a little bit tough at times and kind of returned better, more to that, Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Oregon Day type of feel than of what we saw last year. Just looks like he's a lot more comfortable in this offense. But Pat Bryant's starting to get his reps in as well. How do you feel about these three?
First, Franklin, I think he's solidified himself as the number 2 unless we make a trade. I think the only reason that there are trade talks is you watch something like against Dallas where he ran that deep kind of out and it was a high pass, but it was off his hands. And I think that's something in Peyton's mind. It's like, I want somebody that can make this Cortland Sutton type catch besides Cortland, if that makes sense. And I think that's really the only thing. And then with Pat Bryant, I've said for the last few weeks, you're seeing more Pat Bryant and less Sherfield on the field, and I like that. I want to see more of what Pat Bryant can help over the middle and different things. I mean, if you go back and you pause it about the time that Bo Nix threw that interception, Pat Bryant's got 4 yards on the guy, and he's about to run for a lot of yards. So I like that separation over the middle. Him and Ingram are going to be big there coming down the stretch. And he is a willing blocker. And if you go watch that Harvey's first touchdown, I mean, they're out blocking. And that's why I think you see J.K. Dobbins is number 3 in the NFL in rushing currently. So, and Cortland Sutton's Cortland Sutton. I mean, I'm not going to harp on the fact that he dropped a touchdown in the Dallas game. I mean, he catches that 99 out of 100 times. He made that catch against the Bengals. It is what it is. I like the way it's coming along, and I think this is the week without Mims in here, the kind of the gadget guy. He can't use these multiple screen passes and different things. He's going to have to kind of open it up a little more because he can't rely on that. He hasn't shown that anyone else there hasn't used anyone else there really. And I think that's going to be a good thing for this offense. So moving forward, it kind of allows Nix to, survey the field and different things and not just catch it and throw it out there. So I think it's going to be it's not good that he's out because he's our best punt returner and an all-pro and stuff, but I think it might be a good thing for this offense. And if that means less snaps for Mims on offense and we roll with these three, then so be it.
We're going to get into this matchup and some of these individual matchups versus the Houston Texans here in a little bit. I really want to get your thoughts on some things and how this Denver Broncos team matches up versus the Houston Texans. I will say this. The Houston Texans have struggled within this year. Last week, they didn't have their 2 top wide receivers. Last week, they went out there and, typically when a 5-2 team rolls into your stadium, it's something to be a little bit worried about when you haven't had the best year so far. It was the San Francisco 49ers, and the Houston Texans walked away with a win. 49ers are now 5-3. They found, like you were kind of talking about, maybe with Marvin Mims out, you find a different piece and a different way to attack with your offense because you're not trying to force particular plays directly through Marvin Mims, who Marvin Mims has been a guy that you're using in particular ways so far for the majority of his snaps this year. So now all of a sudden, I think that opens it up to other players and other possibilities, and maybe somebody else gets the touches. I'll get into who I think that's going to be here in a little bit. I want to say hello to Karen. Karen's coming in and saying, hello, all ready for another Denver Broncos win. Just don't like the early games. Hashtag go Broncos. Hashtag I like Karen coming in here and talking about some Broncos football. The early games aren't too bad for me, but yeah, I'd probably prefer those 2:00 games. Maybe I'm a little bit more used to it because I'm so dang old, Jody, that the Seattle Seahawks used to be in our division. And back then that meant you got a lot more early games because you'd potentially have a Seattle early game or whatever have you. No, I'm thinking the opposite direction. What am I doing? Seems like we had more early games back then, though. Martin is coming in. He likes Mercedes Lewis. He says the guy's got good hands for a big guy. So don't count that out, kind of what you were talking about. I do like him down, especially near the red zone. I'll give you that, man. That's like you said, he's a little bit older, a little bit bigger. He's not going to be taking any 15-yard out routes anytime soon and beating coverage. But, sneaking off the line into the end zone for a snag, more than capable of doing something like that. Good friend JC Weaver coming in. He says, hope you gentlemen are having a great night. Man, having even a more fantastic night now that you're in here, man. Appreciate you, man. Good to see you, as always. Phil McLaughlin, I'll just get your thoughts on this. We're going to talk a little bit more, like I said, about the matchups. We're almost at the halfway mark on this one. But Phil's dropping more stars, so I got to get to his questions and his thoughts and his comments. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it tons. He says, I got a feeling Nick Benito is hungry. He got a little bit snubbed versus the Cowboys, didn't have the big game. He wanted back in there at the end, man. He wanted back in there a lot. And Sean's like, I think we're not going to rack up any more injuries. Go sit with Marvin. Yep. And that being said, I think Phil could be right. He could be a little hungry. Good luck, CJ Stroud, he says. You think he's hungry? Do you think he's going to get after CJ Stroud? I don't want to give any predictions on sacks just yet. Maybe we'll leave that for a little bit later. But you think it's going to be a good game for Nick Benito?
I think it's going to be a good game for this whole D line and pass rush because Houston's O-line is very banged up. I mean, they rotate guys in at left guard. They're banged up, so I think it's going to – if you don't get a lot of pressure on CJ Stroud, I'm going to be disappointed.
Boy, talk about maybe disappointment. I got to get JC's comment on here because we just got off of this subject. We'll get right back on it. He says these three are our future. He's talking about Sutton. He's talking about Troy Franklin. He's talking about
Pat Bryant.
Pat Bryant. I'm sorry. Yeah, you just keep butting in, man. Every time I ever went to say something, man, you threw me off. Jeez. Sutton, Franklin, Bryant, that's our trio that we're going to be moving forward with, to the point that he says, I'll say Mims is expendable this offseason. It's only been his special teams play that's really even made him worthy of taking the field. You agree or disagree with JC Weaver and his hot take on Marvin Mims? Whew, hot take.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that when he says if it weren't for a superior special teams play, he's expendable. Because the thing is why has he not taken over this number 2 wide receiver role? He hasn't. He's not getting full-time snaps there. Franklin basically has taken that over. He doesn't get serious. I mean, he runs a handful of routes out there. It's a lot of gadget stuff. And really, if it comes down to it, RJ Harvey can do that. RJ Harvey can – he's not going to do the down-the-field type things and whatever, but he can do those gadget plays out of the backfield and different things. So I agree with that. And that's why I said earlier, with just those 3 guys getting the bulk of the snaps this week, I think it's going to open up the offense a little bit because Sean Payton, I think, is in this little weird position. He doesn't know really what to do with Mims. It's like he's athletic and he makes plays, and I got to get him on the field, but I don't know how to get him on the field. I can't put him out at wide receiver full time because he doesn't run great routes. He doesn't run the whole route tree. He only runs these handful of plays. Great. So I think you might see the offense, look a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but you just might see some different things where you might see his time on the field less and let him focus on special teams. At this point, I'm good with that. We're in win now mode, so I don't care about the little bubble screens. If you bring him in for 2 or 3 plays, so be it. But I think this week is going to be very telling how the offense looks.
Yeah, I think it could be, especially against a defense that is formidable in particular ways. We're going to get into the matchups, man. I'm going to just go ahead. We're dang near close enough as it is. I want to talk about our amazing sponsor right here, and then we're going to get into these matchups. Our amazing sponsor is Morgan Trinkets. Perfect for this matchup because they're all about Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, estate gold as wholesale prices. So if we have any Texans fans in here, maybe you're into that. Typically, they're doing shows right in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, but there's a couple of the places you can check them out. If you head on over to Etsy, type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. You'll see that everything that they have to offer, man. A company that's been doing it for over 34 years, I'm telling you, they know how to do it, and they got the prices right. If you go over to Etsy, any order over $50 is shipped absolutely free, and all major credit cards are accepted. Pearl Heater is the amazing owner of Morgan Trinkets. If you type in Pearl Heat over on eBay, you'll head right over to this exact same store, almost the exact same store. Everything that she has to offer for Morgan Trinkets is there as well. And of course, all eBay terms and conditions apply. Check out Morgan Trinkets. Holidays are right around the corner. You don't want to get stuck without having something underneath the tree for your loved one. Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, State Gold wholesale prices. That's Morgan Trinkets. Check them out today. Like I said, man, I really want to get into this matchup, man. I'll get to a couple of comments real quick, but Martin says, my humble opinion is that you're underestimating Mims' importance to our team.
And I don't want to underestimate him because he's very important to this team. I just think Sean Payton at points knows he wants him on the field, but can't put him out there in certain situations just because from a lot of reports, he doesn't run a full route tree, so it limits him on what he can do. The set of packages that they have for him, they work well, and he does great at them. I think with him out being away, I think it gets 3 better route runners on the field, and we'll see how that plays out. I think it might open up the field a little bit more.
Yeah, it just every time that you have kind of a substitution within your lineup, it's going to jumble things up a little bit. You know what I mean? Now, how you react to that is going to be based upon your quarterback. It's going to be based upon your offensive coordinator / head coach in this particular situation. And I think given those 2 variables put into the mix, I'm pretty happy with what the possibilities could be because we got Sean Payton, we got Bo Nix. We got Marvin Mims out. We're going to have to rearrange how this offense attacks this week. It'll be interesting to see. Like you said, it might open things up. It might open up our eyes to maybe a different target or two. And that's one of the things I want to get into, man. First, I want to just get into the Houston Texans offense, man. One of the big keys for me that I see that is going to be huge is the guy that's questionable right now. He's got a knee and a shoulder injury. But right now, Dalton Schultz is a big piece of what the Houston Texans do. Dalton Schultz is one of those tight ends and there aren't a whole lot, let's face it. Evan Ingram might be one of those guys where it's like, oh boy, this guy can be trouble. He can change a game. Because not every team has that. You think of the 49ers and Kittle or a Kelsey or something like that. But even like most people wouldn't be going, oh, here comes David Njoku into town this week. Dalton Kincaid can be Dalton Schultz can be one of those guys. And right now he's questionable. I think that's a big piece to exactly how well this offense can operate this week for the Houston Texans against this Denver defense, which we've seen if they do have maybe an Achilles heel, sometimes it can be against a tight end.
I agree with that. I think Denver learned a lot of things last week on how to cover an elite tight end. I mean, Ferguson had 0 catches last week, and they gave up a couple passes to their backup tight ends and whatever. But I mean, they shut Ferguson down. And all week they've been asking, where is Barron going to play? Is he going to be inside? Is he going to be outside? Sean Payton said, tune in at 11 o'clock and you'll find out. And I agree with that. I think you're going to see exactly what you've seen in the Dallas game. Barron is going to move in and out. And I think that's their little secret weapon, covering tight ends with him. And I love what they did last week with the tight ends. And you get a complete linebacker back this game that can do everything and cover. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him as well, with Greenlaw. So I'm not really that worried. Plus, he's iffy as it is. So if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. So I'm not really all that worried. When was the last tight end that really went off on this? I mean, we've said that. When was the last tight end that really did anything?
Mm-hmm.
Goddard? Well, I'll say the Giants, but that whole game was just blah, I guess.
Yeah, that was not what the Denver defense wants to put out there as their reputation. The Giants 3 quarters of football, let's put it that way, or even 4 quarters of football for that matter. Right. I don't know if they necessarily tightened it up even in the fourth, even as the Denver Broncos offense went on a tear. But you're right. That game aside, there hasn't been a whole lot this year, like we've seen in years past. You know, Cody Barton getting picked on. Alex Singleton has certainly picked it up since the first few games, a little bit rusty, 2-3 games, and then he's really picked it up since then. And like you said, add in a Dre Greenlaw. I'm gonna go to another one, man. I'm gonna give you an A/B option. You know this Houston Texans roster, I think, pretty well. Which running back scares you more, Nick Chubb or Woody Marks?
If they were both healthy, Woody Marks, I would just say, just age-wise and different things. But, they're both banged up. But Woody Marks would be for me. Yeah. But, again, I'm not really, with as bad as this O-line is, I'm not really that worried where you shut down the run and you just make CJ Stroud have to throw and you just get a lot of pressure on him. So because of the O-line, I'm really not worried about either.
Fair enough. Well, then I only have one more that I really had lined up here for you. The question is for a lot of Texans fans, and I was listening to a few different Texans podcasts. Christian Kirk has been injured for 3 games, and Christian Kirk was one time, at least when he entered the league, maybe a feared name. Did some amazing things when he was in Arizona for a little bit, at least from play to play, game to game. But last week, Jalen Noel ended up coming out there and taking the field, the rookie phenom. Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Jalen Noel, even Xavier Hutchinson, man. Does this wide receiver, room, I guess, bring any fear to you, especially with PS2 being out and the secondary, obviously having to step up in a few different ways? By the way, Jaden Higgins coming in there as well. Braxton Berrios.
I wouldn't say no. I don't think it scares me. It's a question mark for me. Does Chris Abrams-Drains, does he play like he did last year, or do we see a Levi Wallace type game from him? Because if we get that, that's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I expect Abrams-Drains to play well. Can he go out there and one-on-one the whole game? Probably not. They're going to give help, and you might see Denver more in nickel, and especially nickel, but probably a lot more dime as well, just to give some help out to those guys till they get a feel for some different things. But the way that Denver, shut down 2 elite number 1 wide receivers last week, other than a couple catches, they didn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not worried. I'm not worried about what they've got up their sleeve and stuff. So,
one thing I would say, man, I just going back, and when I was reminded of what C.J. Stroud was or is, I don't want to say was, he is. He's had his struggles these last couple of years, but when he first came on the map, man, he was electric. He was the next big thing. He was everything everybody wanted on their team. This is the guy you want to hit your post to, and this is the guy that could be a franchise type of quarterback. He still has that arm, Jody. He can zip it in there. Coverage, if he's on, if he doesn't get pressure, if he has the ability to deliver down the field, he can deliver it onto a receiver. He can put it on a guy, and he can put it there pretty dang quick. Obviously he doesn't have the biggest, the best wide receiver room, to go out there and attack. But the biggest thing, and you've alluded to it, Jody, I've named 10 different players that play on the offense for the Houston Texans. I have yet to name one offensive lineman. Okay. I looked at the names, and quite honestly, if I went through the list of names for all y'all out there, I don't know if you would recognize a one. And I'm not just saying that because they're offensive linemen. This is a place they struggle. Well, they once had a guy named Laramie Tunsil. We all knew about him. That was a name that, is still big in this league. And actually, I think he just had his first game where he went down. He wasn't able to go out there and play in his entire career. So that's who they used to have. But this offensive line, man, is one that very well could struggle. And this defensive front for the Denver Broncos should absolutely eat. This offensive line should not have the ability to block for a Nick Chubb. They shouldn't have the ability to have clean pockets for C.J. Stroud throughout this game. I don't see within this matchup where they match up well this way. I'll be honest. Nico Collins, Jalen Noel, Dalton Schultz, if he goes out there and he's healthy, Woody Marks out of the backfield. These are all scary prospects to me as far as weapons for C.J. Stroud. But I don't think that he's going to have the time. And I don't think he should have the time. And I don't think a guy like Nick Chubb should get going on a game like this at all. Not with the matchup that we have up front, not when we're talking about a Denver Broncos defense that should be one of the best in the league. One of the best in the league. So that's my thoughts there. That's the matchup that I see. It is going to be kind of a trenches type of game, but I expect some dominance from our Denver Broncos defense within this game.
Well, that I agree. I think that's where Denver exploits this offense. Like you said, C.J. Stroud, he has a big arm. He took this league by storm 2 years ago. But C.J. Stroud is, if you watch him and see it, it comes off to me like he has trouble reading the field sometimes. He's a one-read type guy, and then he gets lost right away. So get pressure on him, and that will confuse him. That's why I'm interested to see what kind of different packages they have where they move Jahdae Barron around, just just to throw some surprises at him, and then continue just to get pressure on him all. This is where your front three, plus your outside linebackers need to have a big game. Get pressure on him, hit him all game long. And maybe this is a game where your defense scores some points, make him turn the ball over, some different things. I mean, the 49ers are super banged up, so I'll say that those were probably a little inflated numbers. But it's still out there, and he can do it. So that's the key for me, getting pressure on him all game.
I know they're banged up, but when I see Christian McCaffrey and I see George Kittle out there, you know what I mean, and they're taking the field, and they're out there with Mac Jones, who's been carrying that team and has been the guy that everyone, you know, loved. That's a team that took it to the 49ers. I mean, they took it to them for the majority of that game. The 49ers kind of came back in a little bit late to make it something, but this offense, like I said, does have weapons. I'll just say two players to watch out for if you're watching the Houston Texans and their offense. My number one that I'm really keyed in on, Woody Marks, is looking fantastic. USC product. He is a weapon out of the backfield as a receiver. He's got that wiggle around the line. He's not going to be able to bulldoze guys and run over guys. That's not the type of running back that he is. But man, is he quick? Is he fast? He's got great hands. He can be a handle. Let's face it, there's been a lot of running backs that have leaked out late and got a reception and done some damage to this Denver Broncos defense. As a receiver, I'm a little bit worried about Woody Marks especially. And then Jalen Noel, if he goes out there and he gets his run, especially over Christian Kirk, I think that, he's a guy that's pretty electric. I already mentioned that, Dalton Schultz, but like I said, I'll leave that to the side. I think he's a big piece of this offense that really helps out this CJ Stroud and this offense go. So,
yeah, I think if you just keep the pressure up all game long, it makes it pretty easy. And what else will help is if this offense can get out to a lead and you make Houston one-dimensional and you force them to have to throw the ball over, because this O-line is not set up for that to pass protect, and they have not seen a defense like this all year. So
fair enough. Yeah. Most teams haven't seen a defense like the Denver Broncos when we come into town. That's for sure. Since we're talking about this, then we mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'll put you on the spot here. Sack total for the game, and then a Nick Benito sack total for the game.
I think Benito, he probably finally gets a sack. I think he hadn't had one in a few games. I'm going to say somewhere 1.5, 2 sacks, and I'm going to say somewhere in the 7 to 8 range.
Whew. All right. I'll go with it. I'll go pretty close with you. I'll almost actually fully align. I'm giving him a full 2 sacks, and I'm giving 7 sacks on the day. And another thing, CJ Stroud, he cleaned it up this last game, but he has this bad trait of backing up, backpedaling, and still taking sacks, not getting rid of the ball, still taking sacks. It could be a big negative yardage type of day for the Denver Broncos and the sacks. I want to make sure I'm gotten lots of comments. Phil's coming in saying Stroud isn't Dak. He doesn't have the receiver, so it makes sense that we should shut down the Texans, in his opinion. Stroud under pressure is great for the Denver Broncos defense, especially that back half, the secondary that's going to be, kind of coming into their own without a PS2. 7 sacks, says the Dutchie, for the Broncos defense. Karen's coming in saying this should be a decent win for the Broncos. In my honest opinion, the Texans just aren't there and have pieces to fill to be a top tier team. Definitely have pieces to fill. Definitely has pieces to fill. It did put me on notice a little bit. Like I said, when they took down the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle's out there. Juwan Jennings is out there. They're only really down like a Brandon Ayuk as far as their wide receiver. I know they're down Brock Purdy, but they've been doing that all year. I mean, and they pretty much shut down. So we're going to flip over to the defense here in a second, and for the Houston Texans in the matchup versus the Denver Broncos offense before we get predictions all the way across the board and get out of here. Phil's coming in with the 7-2 as well. 7 sacks, 2 for Benito. Love it, Phil. Love it, Phil. I think we're all right on track. We're lockstep almost right there as far as the sacks are concerned for the defense. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Sheldon Rankins, a couple of the guys that line up right up front for this Houston Texans defense. Their offense in the trenches may not be that scary, but when we start putting names out there like that, something to pique your ears up about. Jody, what do you think about this Houston Texans defense and defensive front, and maybe just how it matches up against the Broncos offense at the same time?
It's an elite defense. It's the number one scoring, or the fewest points allowed. I mean, they're right there neck for neck with Denver for who's the best defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a lot of pass rushers. You just named them. They get after the pass rush. So, I mean, it's something to worry about, but this is where you lean on your heavily paid offensive line. And this is a game I'd like to see J.K. Dobbins, lean on the run game a little bit more and make them stop the run. A game I go back to I think it was a couple weeks ago, the Monday night game when they played Seattle. Seattle ran on them. If it wasn't for 4 turnovers Seattle had, they probably would have put more than 29 on them or whatever it was. So that's kind of the game plan. Seattle ran the ball on them, and then that opened things up for Jackson Smith and Jigbo. I mean, he had a big game. Sutton can do the same thing. I think this offense is starting to find some things. But it all starts with the run game, and you can go back to last week against Dallas. You were basically 50-50 run pass. That's what I would like to see going forward. So, but back to your question of the pass rush, it's elite, and this offense is going to have this O-line is going to have a challenge on their hands. But this is why you paying everyone big on this O-line, and this is why you have a top O-line for situations just like this.
Yeah, I mean, and Albert Mile High Dutchy coming in here, he says Bowles is probably the best left tackle, and McGlinchey, with some help, will be able to handle those edge rushers. This is what they get paid for. Karen coming in, she was thinking 5 sacks for in total and 2 for Bowles. It's been fun watching a great defense again for us. Getting back to that side of the ball. Bold prediction. Phil's coming in here with 50 stars. That's a pretty bold himself, but he's coming in with a bold prediction. Benito scores and Bo has 3 passing TDs, maybe alluding to maybe exactly what his score might be. I don't know if there's any Will Lutz AFC special teams player of the week. I think it was. Yeah. Month. That's right. My special teams player of the month, Will Lutz. Perfect throughout the month, if I remember correctly. Knocking him through, baby. Maybe a few more of those in his bold prediction with Nick Benito getting a touchdown, getting a score. And Bo Nix has 3 passing touchdowns. Phil, thanks again for the stars, man. Houston's defense is fast, which puts a lot of pressure on our offense. Our screen game is going to come in handy in this one. He likes the screen game. I got to say this. A couple of things that I took away from listening to a lot of Houston Texans podcasts and coverage. Houston Texans, on average, have allowed 153 passing yards per game. This is not the game that you want to go out there and probably have a game plan to light it up for 400 yards through the air. I like the 3 TDs, but you know what? 3 TDs can come on the back of your defense, getting great field position to where you don't have to put up 400 yards and you can still get those 3 TDs. That's the type of game I think you're going to have a little bit here, is a defensive type of game, because their defense is good. Jody just put it out there, man. Their defense is good. Don't expect a ton. And because of that last stat that I just put out there, Jody, you're right, man. Our running backs better be involved in this game. This better be a huge running back game for the Denver Broncos. Don't get me wrong. The passing game will have to be there. If not, the running game won't go. Last thing I'll say is this: yards after catch. The Broncos are actually one of the best teams at yards after catch. The Houston Texans are actually one of the worst teams, or one of the best teams as far as defending yard after catch. That matchup right there, we got to be able to break tackles. We can't allow the Texans to tackle us as soon as we catch the ball. We need to allow those screens, those quick slants, whatever it happened to be on time, 3 or 4 additional yards. 3 or 4 additional yards. It's always got to get 3 or 4 more yards. Can't be tackled on the spot. More yards. That's things that I'm looking at. But 153 yards, this running game has got to get going. This is the matchup that I want to get to, Jody, and I'm gonna let you take the wheel here for a second. We'll get some predictions rolling in here. Texans D isn't great at the goal line, says Phil McLaughlin. So watch out for that. I like that, Phil. Phil's doing his own digging there, man.
And I'll add to that because that is.
I just want to say this. Go
ahead.
Now you've made me. Now I lost my train of thought, Jody. Go ahead,
Sorry.
man.
I'll add to that, and he's right. And when Denver gets down there in the red zone and down on the goal line, I don't want to see anything cute. I don't want to see these rollouts where Nix has one receiver, and if it's covered, I don't want to see that. You have an elite run game, and you brought Mercedes Lewis in here to block. And if it means you run the ball 4 times up the middle and you get stonewalled, then the Texans start at the 1-yard line or wherever you failed, because I want to see you pound the ball and score. I don't want anything cute. We don't need trick plays. Just get it in. We can't settle for 3. And so I think Sean Payton knows that. So that's to me, I was going to mention that. That's a very important, in my opinion, stat. You get down there, you got to score.
Okay.
7.
7, not 3. No Will Lutz. No more racking up the accolades trying to get AFC Special Teams Player of the Month again for Will Lutz. Punch it in there for 7. I want to get all the predictions in. Please get them in. I remembered what I was going to talk about. This is one thing I just want to key in on. I've talked about him a few times when it comes to the Houston Texans, and that's Woody Marks. How much I think he could be a key part of this game. But I just got done talking about how big I think this running game and these running backs for the Denver Broncos should and could be as far as coming to a victory at the end of Sunday's matchup. I'm watching RJ Harvey versus Woody Marks. It's time for RJ Harvey to take yet another step after last week, getting his touchdown, breaking off a big run. RJ Harvey, this is a game I think would be perfect for an RJ Harvey. He's a receiving type of running back. He's a quick running back, and like a Zach Charbonnet that we saw, you were talking about Seattle. Zach Charbonnet had his way with his Houston Texans, and it's not because he's a bulldozer like Walker is. It's because he can get out and he has good cuts and he can make moves. I liked what Zach Charbonnet was able to do. I think RJ Harvey could do the same. Want to see how he matches up versus Woody Marks. All right, man. Prediction time. It's time for...
Let's go.
All right, man. Hurry up. Get your predictions in, man. I'm going to get a few of them in already. From Mr. Albert Mile High Dutchy, he's seen him win for the Broncos. which I think we should kind of feel like I feel like we could just start to assume some of these wins after a little while after feeling so good. No, don't start assuming. I have a stat for you here in a little bit. But he's assuming a win this time, 27-18 for the Broncos. Mr. Phil McLaughlin making an even larger spread. 24-10 Broncos. Love it. Love it. Harvey has a great counterpunch, says to Dobbins, says Martin, but Dobbin has to be the guy right now. Maybe, but I'd like to see, each can have their own game. But hey, we'll see who comes out at the end. Martin, come back in the post game or on Monday or on Wednesday when we're talking about this game as well. Ernie Mays, 28-15. Broncos over the Texans. Those are some predictions. What do you got to say, my friend?
I was just going to add, I agree with Martin. I like how they're using Harvey right now. I don't want to see them force Harvey like they did whatever game that was. Just seemed like they forced him and pulled Dobbins off the field. I don't want to see that in this game. You know who your number one is and use him. But set up plays where you can get Harvey in successful, plays. You block it up like you did against Dallas on that toss sweep. He can do elite things. So I want to see him on the field, but you got to use him the right way because he's not there yet as a pounded up the middle type guy. That's J.K. Dobbins, and it's clear who your number one running back is.
Okay, and that's fine. What I'll say in counter to that is I think when you have guys like Will Anderson, you have guys like Danielle Hunter, guys that like to get up the field, I think that's a great opportunity to use a guy like R.J. Harvey who's a little bit quicker, can make that cut and isn't pounded up the middle, but actually getting to the outside edges to where he can actually maybe turn up field, get to the outside, pick up anywhere from 4 to who knows how many yards. Different style of running, but I think it actually would play really well against this particular defense. And I'm just not saying I just want to see what RJ Harvey does because of what he marks. I think the matchup actually lines up pretty good to utilize a guy like RJ Harvey against this style of defense. Plus he's been feeling his own. He's feeling it, man. He's getting into a rhythm. I'd like to see him continue while he's got a little bit of a hot hand.
And I wonder how much pass blocking comes into play with this. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little more Tyler Beatty than Harvey just for pass blocking reasons.
Fair. That's a fair call out, man. I could see that as well. Well, our fans have weighed in. We've got a lot of different predictions, all of them for the Denver Broncos. I don't have Trevor here, so it's probably not going to get as much hate for predicting a Texans win from Jody, I guess. But maybe he's going to shock me here. He's talked well about the Broncos all night. He's going to give a Broncos win and a celebration from the posse here.
I am. I think Denver's rolling right now, and I think they've found something in the last 5 quarters. I mean, you've scored 77 points the last 5 quarters. Keep it going. I don't think you're going to see another 45-point game or whatever they scored last week. If you do, then I think you might see some serious calls on Tuesday to go get that one missing piece that you don't think you have because you've now proven it against the best defense. But I see somewhere in the neighborhood of 27-20. And if this offense scores 27 on this defense and does it in a way that you keep drives alive and you don't necessarily have to score every drive, but you're flipping the field, you're helping your it's not 3 and out like the Jets game, then I think people don't have any choice but to say you're a serious contender now, and I'm excited for the rest of this ride. So let's go.
I'm very excited for the rest of this ride, man. I told you I'd have one more stat though, maybe temper all the excitement, not to damper anything before we get out of here, but put everything in perspective. I just want to point out, Phil, I love that you're dropping stars, and you put this out here earlier. Your bold prediction was that Benito's going to score and Bo's going to have 3 passing touchdowns, and then I asked for predictions, and you have the Broncos at 24-10. And I just don't know how we get 3 passing touchdowns and a Benito touchdown Benito scores. I guess Benito could score like as a safety. That's a possibility, but we still have to do some math here, Phil. Help me out with that one, man. I'm just trying to figure that one out. No, I appreciate you coming in, being a part of the show, and dang you for all the stars. I appreciate you, my friend. What's up, Paul? Good to see you. We're just dropping some predictions before we're getting on out of here. I said it. I think this is going to be a defensive type of game for the Denver Broncos. I think it's going to be one of them type of games, Jody. And you talked about the offense playing field position a little bit and maintaining the possession of the ball in order to flip the field and make it easier on this defense. I'm going the opposite way. I think this Denver defense is going to absolutely wreak havoc against this Houston Texans offensive line. I think they're going to consistently put the Houston Texans in bad field position. And I think the offense is going to get short fields, short fields, short fields. It won't take a ton of yards, but I think it's going to be a dominant performance. I'm saying the Broncos are going to win this one 27-10. 27-10, I think it's going to be very dominant when it comes to the defensive side of things. And, yeah, I think that the defense is going to create turnovers. The defense is going to create short fields, and they're going to be able to really hand the offense this game on a silver platter. Phil says, oh, my goodness, stop picking on me. It's Saturday night. Laugh out loud. You're right. Hey, thanks for everybody for coming in on a Saturday night. Hope you all enjoyed your Halloween. Sorry we didn't go live on a Friday, everybody, but my goodness, good to have you in here on a Saturday. I'll stop picking on you now. Karen's coming in. She's got a 28-17 victory for Denver Broncos as well, man. So
I will say, if Denver in these last 2 weeks, if they put they hold Dallas's basically, what did they hold to 17 till a garbage time touchdown at the end, and you go and you put, like you said, 28. I think I said 27. You put that on the best defense in football. And in back-to-back weeks, your defense held the number one team down in scoring, and then you scored on the number one score defense. That's pretty incredible, and I think then you're going to have to make some decisions come Tuesday, because I think you're going to have to go get the one piece if you think you're lacking the one piece to put you over the top, because you've beaten Philly. You did that to their defense, their offense. You did that to on their defense. You were ready right now.
Well, then maybe this will. I told you I was going to hold one stat to the very end. A little bit of humble pie, I guess you could say, that I'm serving up here. But maybe it just enforces your point even more, Jody. Last time the Denver Broncos were 7-2. If we come out with a victory this weekend, will be 7-2. Was under Jake Plummer. We finished the season 9-7 as Jay Cutler came in at the end of that season and missed the playoffs. It's not in hand yet, Broncos country, but I can tell you what, this team is looking fantastic. They put a win together like we're talking about. And what I thought this is where you're going to go, Jody. I understand going out and getting that piece. No, I think if we go out and get that win this weekend, that our name, the Broncos, the Denver Broncos name, needs to be on the tips of everyone's tongue as far as legitimate contender in the NFL to win it all. Simple as that. You can no longer hide. You can no longer badmouth or say nay. If the Denver Broncos come in out of this and they're 7-2, regardless of what I just got done saying about Jake Plummer and that team that end up missing the playoffs altogether, this team is different. You need to start showing a little bit of respect, I guess, is the best way to put it, man.
I'll say two things. One, Bo Nix doesn't have a rookie quarterback behind him that, whether it was Shanahan or whoever behind the scenes was nudging him to play. So you don't have that. And number two, I could care less what the national media thinks of Denver. Keep doubting Denver. I don't care. I find it comical when I get clips of Nick Wright, how he wants to bash Bo Nix and this and that, and whatever. I could care less. Denver will be, if they win this game, 7-2, and one of the best teams in the NFL right now with big wins. And whether the national media wants to believe it or not, I know Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh and Sean McDermott are staying up at night like, God, I hope we don't have to play them in the playoffs, because now they have an elite defense and now they can run the football, so they can play all different types of ways. So I just find it comical. I could care less, fly under the radar, because when the playoffs come, we'll be ready to rock.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying, hey, prove the haters wrong or we have haters. I'm just saying, I think at this point, a couple of seasons in, Bo Nix, where we're at this season, just I think we just have some legitimacy, man, and that's all there is, man. I just, simple as that. I think we deserve the respect, and it's legitimate respect at this point. 7-2, beat down the Texans, like you said, tough defense. Let's go, man. Let's go.
And it's why I want to see the O real quick. It's where I want to see the O. You just, have a decent game and not puke all over yourself like you did the Jets game. And, that right there, because everyone is saying that's the missing piece. How consistent is his offense? You have an elite defense. This will put an end to that, because you just did it against arguably the best defense in football. So
very good, man. Get your final thoughts lined up. I'm going to do this Mile High Dutchy style a little bit, man. Thank you to everyone, the posse, who have come in tonight, man. Made this a fantastic evening, like Ernie Mays, Phil McLaughlin, Clayton, Albert Mile High Dutchy, Jeremy Dressler, Dan coming in over on Facebook. We had Karen coming in over on YouTube. Thank you, Karen. Good to see you. Martin. Thank you, Martin, man. Good to see you as well. JC Weaver was in the house. Making sure I didn't miss any other commenters in here. Oh, that might be all the commenters that we did have this evening. I can tell you we had Paul that came in a little bit later. Almost forgot about him. And I will say that, hey, Phil, thank you very much, man. All the stars you gave tonight, man. Good to see you on a Saturday night. Thanks for everybody that came in and was part of this show. It's what makes this world go round, the Denver Bronco Roundup world. And hey, I got you, Paul. Hey, it's okay, buddy. I said Paul. Paul, I got you too, man. No, I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are amazing. We love you so much, and I can't wait to be talking about a Denver Broncos win. We'll be talking about a Denver Broncos win. I'm just going to put it out there, man. Good juju out in the atmosphere. We're going to be talking about a Denver Broncos win post-game tomorrow. Man, just hours away, man. Go get your sleep and then go watch the Denver Broncos tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Final thoughts from you, Jody?
I just want to see the O play a 4-quarter game against a legit defense, and then there should be no more questioning. There still be haters out there, but there should be no more questioning. What does this team need? This team has everything that it needs. The AFC is wide open. Really, the NFL is wide open. There's not an elite team out there, and if not Denver, why not? I mean, they have all the pieces that are needed. Bo's shown that he can make fourth quarter comebacks this last month, and I'm excited for this game. This game can stop a lot of the, although I find it comical, it'll stop a lot of the hate and different things. People are going to have to take you serious, whether they like that or not. And I'm excited for the rest of the way. We're excited for this ride. I mean, we're about as healthy as can be. We're missing a few guys, but, for 8 games in, you're pretty healthy. So let's go.
Let's go is right, man. go ahead and get the Texas sweep for us, man. Take out Dallas, take out Houston. Continue this roll, man. The Denver Broncos, man, continue to pile up wins. Got lots of wins at home. Need to get those wins on the road, though, too, man. This will be a big matchup. This defense is tough. Like I said, but I think our defense is tougher. I think that'll be the key, one of the big keys to victory. Watch that Denver Broncos defense eat tomorrow morning. Get your pancakes ready, as Karen says. It's going to be an early one. Get ready for the early one, man. It's going to be breakfast with your Broncos tomorrow as you're watching them with some flapjacks maybe in front of you. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, we do need to get out of here. Broncos, go out there, get that win, stampede the Texans this tomorrow. I'm going to say this weekend. I'm out used to not being on during the weekend, but we get out of here, man. One way only. Hey, by the way, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we're all those places. RockyMountainSN.com. That's where our articles go. We go live on Wednesday and Fridays, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have the Morning Juice Monday morning, 7 a.m., and we go live right after the game. So make sure you're in there right after this game tomorrow. It's a fun time. It's the best podcast of the entire week. It's loads of fun, especially when the Broncos are winning the way they are. Like I said, we do need to get out of here. We get out of here one way only. Boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, Denver Broncos in your heart. We're going to get out of here with a mile-high salute. See y'all tomorrow.